But we start from the bottom of page 8. Who is Savitri? The universal mother's love was hers. Therefore, the pain and suffering of her children is also shared by her. She has not come to simply bring a new message of light and joy, but also to show the way out of suffering and death. How can she show the way out unless she walks on the same path? And that is the great sacrifice, that is the love. You take on, that's what the mother does. She takes her child's suffering on herself. So the whole problem of the universe is the problem of suffering, the problem of death. The way of fate and the problem of death, we are always trapped in that. This is what today Savitri is going through. So he is also taking up the thread of the narrative. What is happening to her today? She is going through the pain that she has come to really fight against, to challenge, but she has to first face the enemy. Against the evil at life's afflicted roots. Her own calamity is private sign. Of her pangs she made a mystic poignant sword. This is the whole problem, the afflicted roots, which is the human difficulty, the problem of something at the very core and the very base of our being, which is still trapped in darkness, in conscience, therefore causing all the problems of error, pain. At the very core of our being, we are still rooted in ignorance. And that is the cause of all the difficulties that we have to go through. She is also sharing that. It is not enough simply to say, I aspire for the light and I turn to the divine in my heart, in my prayers, in my mind. That's good. But what about my roots? Where do they go down? Into the darkness, into the inconscience. It is because of that, just like a tree whose roots have become rotten, will have to fall. It cannot grow endlessly. We too have to fall, we have to die, we have to fail if we do not change our base, which is the yoga of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother. That we have to change fundamentally and not simply find some kind of recourse in our spirit that turns to the divine and say, I've found peace, I've found I'm completely open to the Divine Mother, which is true probably. What about the rest? Part of me I don't even know exists. What about the lowest part of my being that is really still completely unconscious? What's going on there? Naturally, we are part of that world of darkness. And that will lead us to failure and fall. So this is why she has come, to face that problem. The whole poem is really targeted at that. Can one really cancel the slavery to this problem of death? Death will exist as long as this problem of the fundamental darkness and error is not removed.
And she does that in the cells of her body.
That Mother is done, has begun. And it's such a slow, long process. Every cell has to really From every cell has to be removed the principle of inconscience. But here, at this stage of the poem, he is simultaneously describing, because this poem is at different levels at the same time. He's talking about Savitri. She is waking up. As she's slowly waking up, she is passing through that moment of where she realizes that today there is a very difficult experience waiting for her. Sometimes we often tend to forget or push it away and not think about it. It's not just physical sleep, it's closing our eyes to a problem. When you close our eyes to a problem, you feel the problem is not there. But that's cheating in a way. We're cheating ourselves. So she has today realized, so of her pangs, she is suffering because this is, unless I am going through the problem, I will not be able to find the solution. She's also put on a human embodiment. She's passing through the human difficulty, and her personal life becomes really full of that difficulty so that she can find this sword that cut that knot of pain. This is part of the whole play of the divine avatar. The avatar becomes the human. The avatar has not come on earth to avoid pain, to run and just show the human being a guidance towards something like. He has to walk on the same path, and the path is often rough and difficult. And again and again and again, the avatar seems to have failed, it seems to have fallen, because the earth refuses to change. He brings or she brings the light of knowledge and power. We are attached to our weakness. That is the whole problem. We refuse to believe that we can change. So we need a real sword which is sharp. And that is why a solitary mind, because she has seen it. She's the only one who seems to say, unless this lower nature is purified and perfected, the problem of death cannot be solved. She's not doing it for herself because she has come down from the Supreme. She is not an evolutionary being, she has come down. Man is evolving from below upwards, but his roots go down below. That is the thing, that's the difference. We have grown out of inconscience, out of the mud, into the world of life, into the world of mind. But we are still made of mud. There is ignorance, there is dirt, there is pain, there is possibility of error, which is always there because that is our starting point. And we are attached to it. She has come down by choice. She doesn't have to be like that. This is why she is the embodiment of the universal love. A worldwide heart, the whole universal problem. This is, I know if you have read in Life Divine, there are two very important chapters. The problem of pain and the solution. What is the problem of pain and why? And the next one says, what is the solution? If all is supposed to have been born out of ananda and delight, why is there pain? Because it is there. And pain, the ultimate pain, is death. And what will free us from this? The solution. The return to that ananda. But not only in our hearts and minds, in every cell of our body, and that is a very slow, long process. This, a solitary mind, she has perceived this worldwide heart. She has taken the whole universal difficulty into herself. Everyone's pain is her pain. The universal suffering is her suffering. This is the extent of her love. To the lone immortal's unshared work, she rose. She's waking up. So here, literally, this young maiden who had as if fallen into a drowse, she's slowly, very slowly, waking up. Nature seems to tell her, don't wake up. Because when you wake up, you will remember. That is why there is a kind of a gentleness in the inconscience, which is there in one of his phrases, divine inconscience. We are rocked in the cradle of divine inconscience, describing Savitri when she was born, rocked. It is as if it keeps us protected. When you don't know that there is a difficulty, it's not there, as far as you know. You're free from that. So it is as if that inconscience is like a mother telling her, you just sleep. But how long? She has not come here to sleep. So gradually, it's very progressive. Gradually, she begins to wake up. At first, life grieved not in her burdened breast. He doesn't say she grieved not. He says life grieved not. Because in the very nature of life, there is the opposite. Life carries the opposite, which is death. And the loss of life is grief. At first, this loss, this sense of loss is not there. Her breast, which is her heart, which contains the experience of love, here, love for Satyavan. Who is Satyavan? The soul of the earth. She has come down for the earth. He is the soul of the earth. And this soul again and again has to be withdrawn, taken away, goes back to the origin, and the body falls. How long will this go on? So at first, life grieved not in her burdened breast. On the lap of earth's original somnolence, she goes back to that state of that quietness, that inconscience, that sleep, where you don't have any sensitivity to any experience, certainly not to pain or to joy or to anything. Inert, released into forgetfulness. And that is sometimes a kind of a freedom. It is said that ignorance is bliss. Well, it's not bliss, but it's an absence of the knowledge of pain. To that much, for that much you can say it is, you're fortunate not to know. We can't bear the burden of the whole knowledge. If we were given knowledge of the universal purpose of existence, we have to then be given also the power. Knowledge without power is very difficult to bear. Since we don't have the power, it is almost a grace that we don't have the full knowledge. We get just that amount that we can contain. Our beings are small. We contain as much of power as well as knowledge that we are capable of containing. The rest we can't. We're not ready for it. She is passing through those phases. So now she is waking up. Life grieved not in her burdened breast.
Isn't this what echoes also the protective ignorance?
It does. For a while it protects. To some extent it does.
Protects us.
Yes, it's like
Knowing too much.
Yes, it's like darkness. Why do we sleep better when the lights are off? It's a symbolic thing, isn't it? Darkness gives us peace and rest. Too much light is, when we're not ready for it, is terrifying. We can't bear it. We have to be ready for things. If we want the highest experiences, we need the preparation. We need the strength. This is required. It can't be given the whole truth. If it were given to me as I am now, I would be completely shattered. I don't have the ability to bear it. That's why there is Chit Shakti. With consciousness, there has to be power. If one is there and the other is not, then it is very difficult. The gods are not always strong. They have the consciousness, they do not have the power. The asuras have power, they do not have the consciousness. So we have this world divided into these two beings. Man is capable of both. To man is given the chance that you can grow from below, carrying everything upwards. This is the process of evolution. But for a very long time, like the seed that is coming out of the soil and starts to become a little sprout, a little plant, it is still covered by mud for a while. We are covered with mud and dirt and ignorance and impurity. You cannot say overnight I have become perfect. I have not. So, on the lap of earth's original somnolence, inert, released into forgetfulness, prone it reposed, unconscious on mind's verge. It is life. Prone is to lie face down. So she's not looking up. Not yet open to mind's verge, on the edge of memory, the edge of mentality. This is not yet functioning. Obtuse and tranquil, like the stone and star. Obtuse is not sharp, the opposite of sharp. When something is not sharp, it doesn't hurt. When you have something that is sharp, it hurts. But when something is not so sharp, it doesn't cut into you. The stone doesn't, unless it is hit and thrown by somebody else at you, it is not meant to hurt you. It's just a stone. It doesn't have any bad will or bad feeling. It's not there to hurt or to harm. Or the star, it is what it is. In the world of matter, there is no evil, there is no good. It's just each thing is what it is. It is what we make of them that, because with our personal lives and egos and desires, we confront the material world and we use them for harm, we use them for good. It's something else. But in themselves, there is neither good nor evil in the world of matter. Like the stone, like the star, it was not meant to harm, it was not meant to help. So, in a deep cleft of silence twixt two realms, the realm of absolute unconscious sleep and the realm of absolute conscious waking. She is in between. It's so gradual, it's like when sometimes you wake up in the morning, I suppose you don't jump out of bed right away. There is an in-between stage where you are not fully awake, you are not quite asleep. You just are moving from sleep to waking. She lay remote from grief because she has forgotten. Her mind is not working. For a while it is as if nature has given her the blessing of oblivion, of forgetting. Unsown by care, it's a very vivid image. Care is pain and sorrow. It cuts through you like a saw. Here, for a while, she's not being cut by suffering. Nothing recalling of the sorrow here. Then, that's the next phase, very gradual, a slow, faint remembrance, shadow-like. Not a very clear remembrance, just a faint remembrance. You see, he is not telling us the remembering what. This is the nature of the epic. It's anachronistic. It doesn't give you follow the sequence of events. It will move from the later event will given first, the beginning will come sometimes in the middle. It doesn't follow a sequence. So we do not know what memory of what grief, and we are not supposed to know, because it's true also that when we are not perfectly conscious, we are not conscious of the pain that we are going through. That's why I suppose they give you painkillers. You take painkillers to forget. We can do it without thinking. You just stop thinking, you don't suffer. It doesn't mean the suffering goes away. The problem doesn't go away. It just doesn't hurt you for the time being. Then the painkiller wears off. Slowly you begin to respond. It's a very slow change. Here like a shadow. And sighing, she laid her hand upon her bosom and recognized the close and lingering ache, deep, quiet, old, made natural to its place. She had lived with this pain for a long time. It had become part of her life. Gradually she realizes that there is this burden of sorrow. Made natural to its place, it has become part of her being. But the mind is still not fully awake, and therefore knew not why it was there, nor whence it came. Life has started to be more conscious, but mind is not yet. It is as if mind refuses to wake up. And if you can't remember, then you don't know why you are going through a difficulty. So the difficulty doesn't seem to affect you as much. But something is happening. So he gives us that same description of Savitri, who is the Divine Mother, but at the same time she is also the human being, who is passing through the stages of the human experience, but knew not why it was there, nor whence it came. The power that kindles mind was still withdrawn. Mind is there, naturally, a physical mind, but the power behind the mind, the consciousness that makes mind the leader and guide of your life, that seems unwilling to act. You see, as if all these parts seem to want to protect her, seem to share, wanting to keep her from grief for as long as possible. Heavy, unwilling were life's servitors. Life's servitors are body and mind. Your body is, as well as your mind, are the servants of your life. And neither body nor mind wants to work. She is alive, but she's not really fully aware. It is as if this awareness does not want to function. Like workers with no wages of delight. If there is no joy in your work, then you don't want to work. And the body and the mind says, you are not going to be happy. The moment she will wake up, she will remember the pain. So we don't want her to remember. Sullen, the torch of sense refused to burn. The senses are the five forces that help us connect with the world around us, the experience. They don't want, it's not enough to have your five senses, you have to have the sense perception behind the sense. You have eyes, but you have to have the ability to see. You have ears, but you have the ability to hear. There is the ability and the perception. Otherwise, the five senses are just five senses. There are so many people who have eyes but don't know how to see, don't know how to hear, because that is the capacity behind the sense organ. There is the sense organ and the capacity, which in Sanskrit you have the karmendriya and the jnanendriya. The jnana that is there behind the indriya is the sense. And if the jnanendriya is not there, then you can see, but your eyes are blank. Your ears are there, you're not, but you're still deaf because you can't, the ability or the need or the wanting to hear, sometimes it can be done almost voluntarily. I don't want to hear, so I switch off my mind. All the sounds there, but I don't hear anything. I have cut off connection. So this is possible. The power that kindles mind was still withdrawn. Heavy, unwilling were life's servitors, like workers with no wages of delight. Sullen, that is annoyed, angry, hurt, disturbed, unhappy, all this all in one. The torch of sense refused to burn. The unassisted brain found not its past. What does that line say? What is this? What is the assistance in the brain?
Awareness.
Memory.
Memory and awareness.
Yes. You are here now. She's going through an experience. If she has forgotten why she is, the brain, the link that memory gives is the thread that connects us from one moment to the next and the next. It is this. If a person who has lost his memory doesn't know anything, is lost everything. So the unassisted brain. It's so important to have memory. That is the reason perhaps why in the ancient times everything was taught by memory. You contain it inside yourself. It's not a mechanical function. It is a link. It connects this with the past and therefore prepares you for the future. It is one continuous journey. If we can't find the past, we can't understand the present. If I don't know what I was, how can I realize what I am now? I have to be able to be, I was this, now I have that. This is the change that I have made in my own nature, in my being. This will lead me into the future. It is one thing. Life is a journey. And memory is that which helps you. It's a very important thing. It helps you to participate in your own journey of consciousness. If you're cut off from the past, you are cut off from the present. You live only in this little fraction of time which you call the present, which is hardly a fraction, not even. So it gives no significance to your moment or your experience. The unassisted brain found not its past. Only a vague earth nature held the frame. A vague earth nature, the physical mind, the physical body, the movements of life that flow through the bodily functions, that is there, she's alive, but barely, as if barely alive, not that she's not alive, but there's no reason why she should be. What is she here for? What is the reason that she has come down on earth for? All this for the time being is forgotten. It's as if this is the kindness of ignorance. That is, it is almost asking her to rest, preparing her. Inconscience is also the starting point of all consciousness. Therefore, here also you see the kind of protection and kindness that is there in the original inconscious. Not that we are happy to be unconscious, we should not be. And neither should we be happy to be ignorant. But the principle of inconscience is the starting point of all change and growth of consciousness. So the possibility of perfection is hidden in the inconscience. Today she has to rise up to her role. But it is as if this mother power, this lower Prakriti is asking her to take her time, rest, gather as much peace and quiet in her being before she enters into the battlefield of life. So that's the next stage. But now she stirred. Her life shared the cosmic load, the whole cosmic load of loss, difficulty, of suffering, of pain, of loss. She is also sharing that loss today. He's leading us to the end of the canto. At the summons of her body's voiceless call, her strong, far-winging spirit travelled back. Her nature had fallen into a drowse, but her spirit had always been one with the divine. It had withdrawn. Now it comes back. And that spirit enters into her physical, vital, mental nature, wakes her up, prepares her for what she is supposed to do. Back to the yoke of ignorance and fate, back to the labor and stress of mortal days. This is what she has done. The yoke of ignorance. We are yoked. We are slaves of ignorance. Yoke is the symbol of slavery. As long as we are ignorant, we are slaves of fate. Fate, ending, death, failure, they're all part of the same principle. It is in this world, for this that she has come. Back to the labor, because we have to break out of that. It's a very long labor to break out from darkness to light and stress of mortal days. Lighting a pathway through strange symbol dreams. Because it is the dream that will lead us to reality. She has come to find a way out of this difficulty, to show the way out from suffering and death to something new, which has not yet, we are not yet familiar with. The future. Mother speaks of the future world and the future manifestation. To our understanding, it's still strange. It's not part of our daily experience. But there is a kind of acceptance that the way things are have to give way to something we still do not know, towards which we have to move across the ebbing of the seas of sleep. This is a line you can read in different ways. Not just that she wakes up in the morning and the sleep is moving away from her, she's becoming aware, conscious of why she has come. But we are always asleep. We live in a state of dullness, ignorance, failure. The whole nature of man is as if plunged in darkness. A moment has to come when this sleep ebbs. It goes back. We have to wake up from that inner somnolence. We are awake physically, our eyes are open. Inwardly, we are still bound to inertia, to ignorance, to error, to pain. We are not fully awake. It's very difficult for us to be awake fully in every part of our nature, totally alive, totally conscious. We would be really as if centers of tremendous energy if we were like that. But there is dullness, there is tiredness. Say, I'm not sleeping, but I am part of the world of inertia and dullness. Her sleep is moving. Her house of nature felt an unseen sway. Her house of nature is her outer embodiment. The consciousness is filling this outer nature, and memory's casements open on the hours. Casements are windows. Memories are like windows. You remember the past in order to prepare yourself for the present and the future. And the tired feet of thought approached the doors. her doors. Tired feet of thought as a human being, she's lived with this problem for a year. What problem? We shall be told in the next page, but for a year. And it is like when we have a problem and we don't yet find the solution, and we turn the problem over and over and over and over again in our head, there is a certain tiredness in the mind. How long shall I fight this? How shall I come out of this difficulty? I do not know how to come out of the difficulty. But that does not remove the difficulty. In fact, I am obsessed by the difficulty. The more I fail to find a solution, the more I am obsessed by the problem. So her mind had been full of this problem in her human embodiment. All came back to her. Now she was fully awake. Earth and love and doom. These are the three principal characters. Earth is the field of the battle. Earth is what Satyavan represents. Love is who she is. Death is what wants to destroy Satyavan or Earth. Again and again, life becomes the food for death. She is, with her love, the power of protection. So these are the three, this is the battlefield. Satyavan is not just a person. He is the spirit of the whole earth. She has come to protect, she's come to save, she's come to raise it from its imprisonment to darkness. That's why she has to enter into the darkness to free him from this bondage. The ancient disputants, love and doom, encircled her like giant figures wrestling in the night. The Godheads from the dim inconscient born, our unconsciousness, our failure, our doom is because there is in us the element of impurity, imperfection, unconsciousness, which will therefore lead us like the afflicted roots of the tree, will lead us finally to failure and fall. These are the powers, Godheads are the universal powers. Awoke to struggle and the pang divine. But there is always in the earth, this is the privilege of the human existence, there is evolution, there is growth, there is change, there is the possibility of rising. We are not here only to fall, we are here to rise. So these are the two disputants, the force that takes us forward, leads us upward, that other power that always drags us down. Man is in the middle. He's caught by both these forces. And this is the battle that is taking place in her, within her being. She has taken it on herself, and the battle of love that will be the guidance, that will show the way out, and doom that has always been ruling the earth and ruling existence. These are the two, and therefore the battle is taking place inside her. And in the shadow of her flaming heart, at the somber center of the dire debate, this clash, a guardian of the unconsoled abyss, inheriting the long agony of the globe, a stone still figure of high and godlike pain stared into space with fixed regardless eyes that saw like grief's timeless depths, but not life's goal. The guardian of the abyss is pain. Pain guards the abyss. Pain drags us into the dark hollow of non-existence. A guardian of the unconsoled abyss, the abyss that remains forever dark. It wants to come out of darkness. Inconscience has been made so that it can slowly emerge into consciousness. But we seem to not want to. Something in us does not want to change. Inheriting the long agony of the globe, that is why this debate, this division, this battle that takes place within our natures the push towards the light, the pull towards darkness. All things in existence are part of this battle. And pain doesn't seem to move, therefore, it's in the middle. Two forces, when they are equal, there is at the center something that is immobile. Pain is constant. Pain becomes the cause of change. Because you suffer, it gives us the inspiration and, you might say, even the push towards change. But there is also the failure. You give in to pain, so it doesn't move. It remains there forever. Apparently has been there forever. Stared into space with fixed, regardless eyes. That's what we were just talking about. The eyes are open, they're empty eyes. It leads nowhere. There are eyes that are empty. Empty of consciousness, empty of vision, empty of joy. They're just eyes. That's how pain is. It has nothing to look forward to. It seems to have no solution. That saw grief's timeless depths, but not life's goal. Life's goal is that we have to break out of this state of inconscience and ignorance and move towards the light. Pain is incapable of seeing it. It blocks our vision. It is just like when you are in great pain, you can't think, you can't recognize anything, you cannot realize anything. All you want to know or feel is, I want to get out of this pain. I don't know how, but I just want this to stop. But we have no perception that this can be a very powerful, you might say, moment for us to have the courage and the energy to move out, to drag us out. Pain is an opportunity. It's a tremendous opportunity for change. But when it comes, often we fail to recognize it as an opportunity. It is as if pain is himself pained, that he has to play this role, afflicted by his harsh divinity, bound to his throne, because pain is the other side of joy. Pain is the other face of delight. But as we are still in the world of unconsciousness, he is bound to his throne of unconsciousness. He doesn't know that he is actually the starting point of all evolutionary change towards light. So at present he is what he is, and his dharma is to make others suffer. That is his role. He waited unappeased. The thing is that she doesn't seem to give him, to bow before him and to complain and to give in to suffering. This is what the satisfaction of every God is, that the human being will bow before him and offer him some kind of, or accept to, I accept you as being greater than me, stronger than me, please help me, please bow, please bless me. She would not bow before pain. What is the demand that pain asks? Tears. The daily oblation of her unwept tears. This, she was a warrior princess. She would not weep. She did not give him the satisfaction of weeping. Oblation is liquid sacrifice. In the ancient times, there are vital gods who demanded sacrifice. You have to sacrifice your all, you have to sacrifice your life, human sacrifice, animal sacrifice. Sacrifice your love, your life, your wealth, your joy, your children. And it is this that made these vital forces stronger, in a sense, feel more powerful. And that is part of our early religions. In many religions, at the early stages, you have these vital gods that make demands. That you have to give me all you are, all you have, your life, your very lifeblood. You don't give your own life. In the beginning, people did that. You give somebody else's life. An animal or your child or whatever. It's the sense of it, they feed on the human life force. And this is what these gods live by. She did not give him that food. She would not weep. So he was unappeased, was unsatisfied. All the fierce questions of man's hours relived. And this is the whole problem. Why are we here? Just to suffer and then die? Are we born only to die? Or are we born not to die? They are difficult questions. If we are just born to grow, to decay, and then finally die, why be born at all? These are also questions certain philosophers have asked. So all these questions are at this moment passing through her. The sacrifice of suffering and desire. Not tears, but suffering, yes, she has given that sacrifice. Earth offers to the immortal ecstasy. This is what earth gives. Earth lives, earth creates life, earth fails to hold on to that life. So the joy is replaced by loss and pain and death. And this is the cycle that seems to be permanent, the rising and the falling, the living and the dying. It is to break this pattern that she has come. There has to be someone who at least dares to take up the challenge. It has not been taken up before. It has always been believed you cannot do anything about it. Your body is made of the stuff of destruction. It will be destroyed. It is stuff of ignorance. Your spirit is free. Your spirit can withdraw into its freedom. Your body goes back into the world of matter and extinction. Why? The one who made matter is also the same divine who made the spirit. Then why must it go? This is the fierce question. This is the essence again of Sri Aurobindo's yoga. And she looked, earth offers to the immortal ecstasy, began again beneath the eternal hand. It is as if there is not just a guide, a power, but a hand that holds the things as they are or leads the world to what it can be. Both forces are there. The earth has been the same for millions of years. Or can it be moved by that hand, by that guidance towards a new creation? By now she is fully aware. Slowly, physically she is woken up totally, awake. She endured the moment's serried march. Serried is very close, like in French, serré. The minutes are passing very quickly. When you know that something is going to happen, there's very little time. And looked on this green, smiling, dangerous world. Dangerous because behind all the surface beauty, there are all possibilities of danger, of failure, of temptation, especially desire that drags us down. And heard the ignorant cry of living things. And that is what the other beings around her, the other people who had woken up with her in the morning, they had gone out of their homes, whether they were birds or animals or human beings, their daily tasks, taking up the pattern of their daily existence, without question. We take up the patterns also of our daily existence without question. Why? If you don't question, you can't find a solution. Amid the trivial sounds, the unchanging scene, her soul arose, confronting time and fate. So this is the central theme. She will confront, will face and fight time, Kala, another name for death. We are bound by time, therefore we have a beginning and an end. Fate is that end. But we are children who have come from the eternal. Why must we end? This is the difference, the battle that she has come to fight. Immobile in herself, she gathered force. This was the day when Satyavan must die. So this is the reason why he has been talking about pain and sorrow and suffering. We are not told who Satyavan is, but obviously someone for whom she has come down on earth. That's why the next canto is the issue. What is the problem? It's not starting in the beginning, it's starting in the middle.